What if I told you that your desire to stay home isn't a flaw? It's a sign of deep self-awareness. The world will tell you you're missing out, that you're antisocial, that you need to get out more, be more spontaneous, live a little. But what if the opposite is true? What if the people who love staying home aren't avoiding life, and they're just living it differently, more intentionally and peacefully? There's a psychological basis for this preference, and once you understand it, you'll stop apologizing for who you are. Because loving your own space doesn't make you broken, it makes you rare. Think about the last time someone asked you to go out, to a party, to a crowded event, to somewhere loud and unfamiliar. Did your stomach tighten just a little? Did you start crafting excuses in your head before you even responded? And then, did you feel guilty for wanting to say no? The truth is, you don't need to feel guilty, because what you're experiencing isn't weakness. It's your nervous system telling you what it needs. The world glorifies being busy and being socially active, being out there, constantly moving, constantly connected. If you're not posting about your weekend plans, if you're not at every event, if you prefer a quiet night in over a loud night out, people start to wonder what's wrong with you. They ask, don't you get bored? Aren't you lonely? When are you going to start living? And maybe, for a while, you believed them. Maybe you tried to force yourself to be someone you're not. You went to the parties, even though your energy drained before you arrived. You said yes to plans you didn't want because you thought that's what normal people do. But here's what nobody tells you. The people who love staying home aren't running from life. They're running toward peace. They're not antisocial. They're selectively social. They don't hate people. They just value their energy too much to waste it on shallow interactions. And there's actual science behind this. Studies show that people who prefer solitude often have higher emotional intelligence. They're more self-aware. They understand their limits. They know what drains them and what nourishes them. Most people live their entire lives without figuring that out. So why does home feel so different? What is it about being home that feels so safe, so right, so necessary? Is it just comfort, laziness, or fear? Or is there something deeper happening, something your brain and body are trying to protect? The truth is, for some people, the outside world feels like an assault on the senses. The noise, the unpredictability, the constant need to be on, to perform, to smile, to engage. And if you have a highly sensitive nervous system, if you've experienced trauma, if you have ADHD, if you're simply wired to notice everything, the outside world can be exhausting. You notice every tone shift, every facial expression, every mood change before anyone says a word. Your brain is constantly processing, scanning, and absorbing. And by the time you get home, you're not just tired, but depleted. Home is the only place where you don't have to be on guard, where you don't have to scan the room, where you don't have to brace for something unexpected. It's where you finally get to exhale. This is a regulation, and it's your nervous system finally getting what it needs: safety, control, and stillness. And there's a word for this: optimal arousal theory. Some people need more stimulation to feel good. Extroverts recharge by being around people. The noise, the movement, the energy, it fuels them. But introverts and highly sensitive people recharge in stillness. Every social interaction, even a fun one, slowly drains their battery. And home is the only charger that actually works. If you've ever felt guilty about needing to be alone, stop. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're just more intuitively wired to know what your nervous system needs. And that's a powerful gift. But there's something else going on too. For many people who love staying home, it's not just about rest. It's about control. Think about it. Out there, the world is unpredictable. You can't control the weather. You can't control traffic. You can't control how people act, what they say, or how they make you feel. But at home, you control everything. The lighting, the temperature, the noise level, the vibe. You decide who gets in and who doesn't. You decide when to engage and when to retreat. And for the people who grew up in chaos, who walked on eggshells, who lived in survival mode, who never felt safe, home might be the first place they've ever felt truly autonomous. It's not about closing off from the world. It's about finally having a space where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to apologize, where you can just be. And the beautiful part is that solitude isn't the same as loneliness. Loneliness is painful. It's the ache of disconnection. But solitude is chosen. Solitude is nourishing. Solitude is where creativity lives. Think about the greatest artists, writers, thinkers, and innovators throughout history. Most of them were homebodies. They didn't stand in crowds. They stood in their rooms, refining ideas that would change the world. Because when you remove distractions, when you create space for stillness, Your mind finally has room to breathe, to think, to create. People who love staying home often have rich internal worlds. Their imaginations are vivid, their emotions run deep, their thoughts are complex. They don't need loud excitement to feel joy. They can stare out a window, sip a warm drink, and experience a kind of fulfillment that others chase in distant places. Their hearts don't beat faster in crowds. They beat steadily in silence. But here's where we need to be honest, because as beautiful as solitude can be, there's a difference between choosing to stay home and hiding from life. So let me ask you a real question. Are you staying home because it nourishes you, or because you're afraid to be seen? Because you can be safe and still grow. You can protect your peace and still stretch your comfort zone. You can love your home and still live a bold, expansive life. But it starts with being honest about what season you're in. Is this rest, or is this a retreat? Are you recharging so you can show up more fully? Or are you avoiding the world because it feels too heavy? Because sometimes what protects you can also trap you. If you're staying home because social anxiety whispers you're not enough, if past trauma makes leaving feel dangerous, if depression quietly tells you what's the point, then home can become both a refuge and a cage. And I'm not here to shame you for that. I'm here to help you see the difference. Because there's nothing wrong with needing more time. There's nothing wrong with honoring your pace. But there's also freedom in knowing when it's time to step outside. Not because the world demands it, but because you're ready. Understand this, you're not missing out or avoiding life. You're curating it. While the world chases noise and performs for an audience, you found meaning in the stillness. That isn't antisocial, it's energetically intelligent. You don't need more socializing. You need more of what actually fills you up. So stop apologizing. You weren't born to keep up with the world's pace. You were born to find your own. When you stop trying to prove you're okay and start asking what you actually need, that's when everything changes. So here's my challenge for you. Not to go out more. Not to prove you're social. Not to force yourself into spaces that drain you. Instead, I want you to ask yourself one simple question every single day. What does my nervous system actually need right now? That one question, asked consistently, can change your entire life. Because you may need rest today, and that's okay. Maybe tomorrow, you need a connection, and that's okay too. But whatever you need, give it to yourself without guilt, without apology, without shame. Because you're not broken. You're not missing out. You're not doing life wrong. You're just doing it differently, more intentionally, more peacefully, more authentically. And the world needs more of that. So if you love staying home, own it, embrace it, celebrate it. Because the people who love staying home are the ones who make the world feel like home. Drop a comment and tell me, what's your favorite thing about being home? Let's celebrate it together.